Our students cannot read at grade level. As a music teacher, I didn't really think I had a whole lot to add to this conversation, but I don't think a lot of y'all understand how much this is affecting them in every single course that they're taking, not just the ones where they're having to write and read passages like science and math and reading courses, but it's affecting them in every aspect of their schooling. I'm going to put up a chart of a music staff so that you can see what exactly I'm talking about, because I have a story about this past year and some of the struggles that I saw in my band hall with kids that did not know how to read at their grade level. Every year that I've ever taught band, at the beginning of the year, when you're dealing with beginner musicians, the first thing that you do is teach them how to read notes on a music staff. So if you've never had any experience in a music class or learning how to read music, this is how it works. There is a series of lines and spaces on a staff, and each line and space is assigned a note name. And as you can see, they're in alphabetical order going up the staff in line space order. So if you start at this space on the treble clef staff, it starts on A and it goes up to G above the staff. It keeps going A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And as you can see on the bass clef staff, if you start at A and then repeat the cycle backwards, it starts at G and then goes all the way down to A. And usually what I see in my classes when students are having a hard time identifying the note names on the staff, most of the time these issues have to deal with them not understanding that there's a line space alternating order. So they'll often try to like label all the lines in alphabetical order. So they'll do like A, B, C, D, E, etc. Or they'll start the process on the wrong line or the wrong space, or they won't know exactly which space is A. But this past year, it was different. It was different. So what I was noticing this past year with my students is they weren't just having those typical issues that you would have to work through. A lot of these kids would not even use alphabet symbols. They would be making up symbols.
Let's pause it right there. Honestly, this is not surprising what she's saying. I think it's a twofold issue. On one hand, you have students that are just being passed along from grade to grade, and they don't understand simple math, basic reading comprehension. And secondly, you have a lack of parent involvement. Too many parents rely too heavily on the school system to teach their children. Yes, the teacher is there to, introduce concepts, but you have to make sure you're reinforcing these concepts when your child come home. Make sure you're checking over their homework. Go over their homework with them, and not just allow them to come home, drop the book bag, and sit in front of the television or get on the tablet or get on their cell phones. You have to be an active participant in your child's education. And I think that's a key component that's missing with today's parents.
They would not even know how to write A, B, C, D, E, F, G on their piece of paper. They wouldn't know how to form those letters. They would also have issues not knowing alphabetical order in general. So if they knew how to write A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they couldn't answer to me what letter would come after C in the alphabet.
Wow. That's wow. I'm speechless. Not knowing your alphabet and not knowing what comes after the letter C.
And I would ask them things like that specifically. What comes after C in the alphabet? They couldn't answer it. And I'm not just talking one or two kids in the class. I'm talking closer to 50%.
And this literally just touched on what I just said. They're literally passing these kids along. This is just not an isolated incident, again, of one or two kids. She's saying half the class didn't know these simple concepts.
And we're not also just talking about sixth graders. We're talking about sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, kids that are about to go into high school. And did it make the job of teaching kids how to read music harder? Yes, but I think the reason why I'm wanting to point this out specifically is that a lot of teachers in middle school grades or upper level grades before you get into high school aren't necessarily dealing with skills that require you to go back to those remedial basics like the alphabet or drawing letters. But in music class, we literally work with the alphabet every single day. We only work with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 7 letters of the alphabet. And a lot of these kids do not know the first 7 letters of their alphabet or what order they go in. So I can only imagine how they are having issues reading and writing when they can't even identify the first 7 letters of the alphabet. It is a crisis. And before you say, well, maybe you're just not teaching the concept good enough for them to understand that they need to use the alphabet, I would see a correlation most of the time between the kids that were having those issues that I discussed and the ones that could not complete a writing assignment in music class, which I did have them write things out a lot. And oftentimes the same kids that could not identify their alphabet or write things in alphabetical order also could not write passages on their own that were legible and readable.
Mm. And sadly, this is only going to get worse. We have things like Chat GPT now. I've seen clips on the internet with students using Chat GPT to do homework assignments, writing assignments, math assignments, and literally they don't know the basics. I mean, good. Chat GPT is great. If you already know, have a basic foundation, writing, math, but when you're using these things as a cheat code to try to, circumvent learning the basics, life is going to be very tough.
Strong, son. We got this.
He's stressed, and I am too. Like, I told him I probably will start crying. Like, my son is, I don't know what to do for him.
This coming June is when Tiffany France thought her son would receive his diploma.
And I'm just trying to fight. He like, Mom, what was all this for? What did I do this for? Like, don't he get a chance? Do he get a chance?
But after 4 years of high school, this mom just learned her 17-year-old has to start over. He's been moved back to 9th grade.
Why would he do 3 more years in school? He didn't fail. The school failed him. The school failed.
See, I'm already seeing a big problem here. Her trying to place blame on the school. Now, while they may have some liability here, why is it that he was made it all the way to the 12th grade and she was surprised? She don't know her son. She wasn't looking at his report card. She wasn't going over any type. You know your child. You know if your child is on grade level or not. I mean, this is not some type of something that should be a surprise if you're an active parent. But I see why the caption says single mom sent back to 9th grade from 12th says she was unaware of his grades while working 3 jobs. People get very upset at me when I discuss this topic, but it all comes back to family planning and family structure. You have a situation here where obviously she was trying to provide financially for this child and she had no clue what was going on with his schooling. Kids will tell you anything. You have to make sure you're being an active participant in their education, having a direct line with their teachers to see what's going on. I mean, it's sad. We have a situation where he's literally going to have to go all the way back to 9th grade. I mean, these are just years wasted.
At their job, they failed. They failed. That's the problem here. They failed.
You failed, ma'am. You failed your son.
They failed. He didn't deserve that.
France's son attends Augusta Fells Savage Institute of Visual Arts in West Baltimore. His transcripts show in 4 years, he has passed just 3 classes, earning 2.5 credits, which places him in 9th grade. But France says she didn't know that until February. She has 3 children and works 3 jobs. She thought her oldest son was doing well.
Wow. She thought her oldest. Wow.
Because even though he failed most of his classes, he was being promoted. His transcripts show he failed Spanish 1 and Algebra 1, but was promoted to Spanish 2 and Algebra 2. He also failed English 2, but was passed on to English 3.
I'm just assuming that if you are passing, that you have the proper things, to go to the next grade. And, the right grades, you have the right credits.
As we dig deeper into her son's records, we can see in his first 3 years at Augusta Fells, he failed 22 classes and was late or absent 272 times.
Let's pause right there. First 3 years, he failed 22 classes and was absent or late 272 times. I mean, how can you try to blame the school 272 times? He wasn't even showing up to try to give himself a chance to learn the material. But because she was burdened with 3 kids, and obviously the children's father or fathers are not around, she has no clue what he's doing because she's probably working from sun up to sundown. And a little bit of time that she does have off, she's probably trying to get some sleep. Again, I made a video talking about the job corps closures, and I referenced the importance of family structure, and a lot of people got upset. But this is what I'm talking about. It's of the lack of family structure, lack of family involvement. I mean, when you have 3 kids and you're just trying to do the bare basics to put food on the table, it's no way she can be active in his education. And this is how you get into a situation where he made it all the way to 12th grade and she believed he was doing well. And man, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of still find that kind of hard to believe because I mean, wasn't she looking at the report cards? Don't the report cards tell you, the absences, the lates, that no teachers called, nothing?
Times. But in those 3 years, only one teacher requested a parent conference, which France says never happened. No one from the school told this mother her son was failing and not going to class. France's son, in his 4 years at Augusta Fells, earned a grade point average of 0.13. He only passed 3 classes, but his transcripts show his class rank is 62 out of 120. This means nearly half of his classmates, 58 of them, have a GPA of 0.13 or lower.
Think about that. Think about what this man just said. He had a class rank. He was pretty much in the upper 50% of his class with a 0.13. Wait, let me make sure I heard that correctly. Maybe I misheard. Let's bring that back. Hold on.
20. This means nearly point average of 0.13. He only passed 3 classes, but his transcripts show his class rank is 62 out of 120. This means nearly half of his classmates, 58 of them, have a GPA of 0.13 or lower.
I hate to say it, but you might as well go ahead and get the prison cell ready because literally he's on a direct path to the school to prison pipeline.
Kid. Like, he didn't deserve that. Where is the mentors? Where is the help?
Ma'am, where is his father? Where is his father? That's what you should be saying. And this is a big problem that we have here. This woman is literally getting on camera saying, where are the mentors? But where is the father? Where's the grandfather? Where's the uncle? Someone. And this is why it's so important, like I said, and I will not back down on the importance of strong family structure. Being intentional on who you choose to have children with is very important. And it's just people just don't take it seriously. And then we have situations like this where we want to get on camera and cry and blame the school system and blame the lack of mentors, and you want to blame the teachers when no, his mother failed him. That's the honest truth. His mother failed him.
For him, I hate that this is happening to my child.
In your opinion, did the school system fail this child?
Absolutely.
This city school administrator who works inside North Avenue asked not to be identified for fear of retaliation.
That school community failed this student.
Again, the school may have some part to play, but I strongly believe this starts at home, and there's no way she should have been unaware of what his academic progress was over the years. And again, to blame the school and teachers, I believe is she's not holding herself accountable.
Analogy always kind of blows my mind because it would be like if you went to the hospital for surgery and the surgeon is like, hey, I'm just here for support. You need to go ahead and grab the scalpel. You need to go ahead and put some iodine on your stomach. You need to gown from, here up to create a sterile field. I'm just here for support. You are the primary surgeon. Even though the surgeon is being paid to be a surgeon, they're skilled and trained at being a surgeon. It would be like them telling you that you should do surgery on yourself. No, I'm not going to submit to this weird ideology that teachers are not responsible for teaching. If surgeons are responsible for surgery and plumbers are responsible for plumbing, then teachers are responsible for teaching.
No, definitely. Teachers are definitely responsible for teaching. But to use our surgeon analogy, you have to make sure you're doing the proper pre op and post op care. I mean, you could have the best surgeon in the world operate on you, but if you don't follow the surgeon's pre and post op instructions, you will not get the desired outcome. Again, teachers definitely should be held accountable. Number one, teachers should definitely be paid more for all the stress and administration. There's a lot of BS that teachers have to go through that, prevents them from teaching. But it starts at home. It starts at home. And parents have to make sure they're reinforcing and staying on top. And honestly, you should be making sure your kid is actually above grade level. These kids will have the latest designer, they'll have $1,500 phones. I've done videos where these kids are having $10,000, $15,000 proms, but you won't spend that same money to get a tutor for your son or daughter so they can be one or two grade levels ahead. Come on, make it make sense.
Parents are supplementary to what happens at school. That is the rightful order. Parents are tasked with parenting, but if a parent has enrolled their child in public school, that means that they are saying, I want the school to spearhead education for my child. If the parent is homeschooling, yes, they are the primary. But if they're not, then no.
Again, like I said, I think she's totally off base. Again, yes, a teacher's job is obviously to teach us what they're getting paid for, but again, it starts at home. Just something as simple as reading with your child every night. These little things um, lay the foundation for how they're going to progress in their academic careers. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to use the school system and the teachers as scapegoats to not take a personal accountability.
If you're a parent, I want you to hang around and listen to what I'm about to say. So I just posted a video about the number of words that a child encounters whenever they're read to. Someone just left a comment on that video and said, and children who have never been read to before kindergarten will probably never catch up. And it made me think about something I was just talking to one of my coworkers about today. I have noticed that when we have students who come in who don't know their letter sounds, and it takes them a while, sometimes over a year, to learn their letter sounds, they're still in first grade trying to learn those letters and sounds. They struggle with learning to read high frequency words. What are high frequency words? High frequency words are words that your child will see pretty regularly whenever they read text in first grade, any grade level. It makes up about 50% of what your child reads. So part of what they're reading is going to be words based off of new phonics patterns that they learned. And then the other half of that text is going to be those high frequency words. So they're going to encounter these words all the time. What does that mean? It means that they usually fall behind and they never catch up. They remain those low performing readers that you keep hearing about, teachers talk about on TikTok. Those are those students who are not reading on grade level. So if you are a parent, take about 5 to 10 minutes a day. Let your kids watch videos about letters and sounds. Make sure that your children know their letters and sounds before they enter kindergarten. Don't wait on the teachers to do it. Don't trust us to do it. I wouldn't trust us to do it.
Exactly. This is how we're going to wrap up and sum up this video. It starts at home. Simply put. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.